learners. I think it was the Chinese adage that said, when I hear, I forget. When I see, I remember. Well, when I do, I understand. As teachers, as educators, we should pay attention that students learn at different rates. And we owe them moral obligation to make them, to make them succeed. Then, student support services could be classified under two broad headings. We have the academic support and administrative support. One time, I made a speech, and the policeman came to me and said, "Doctor, I want to be like you." I invited him to my office. And when he came, I said, "What do you want to study?" He said, he doesn't have any clue, but he wants to go to school. So he needs counseling, academic advancement. Where do you see yourself 4 or 5 years from today? You know, and other students also could have emotional problems. I had a student in my class who was going, through very unfortunate divorce. You don't expect the student to do well. You know, you don't expect the student to do well. We should understand where they are coming from. Some of our students are, single, parents. Some of them are working class. So if you understand the caliber of the student, the geography of the students that are coming into our universities now, if you understand their profile, we're better equipped to give them those support. Because like I said, it is not just enough to admit them. If they don't succeed, we have failed. If you admit 3,000 students on graduation day, you have less than 500, you have not succeeded. So we cannot discuss gross enrollment without retention. Otherwise, it will be a revolving door where they get into the door, and before they know it, they fall out. So I would say the ICT will play a very major role in terms of gross enrollment. We cannot discuss open and distance learning without ICT, because the whole idea of open and distance learning is to break the wall, tear the roof. We admit students from any part of the world. Admission is ongoing. Age is no barrier. Distance is no barrier. Once you have internet, connectivity, you can apply to our program. And right now, we have e-exam, where if you see for the exam, if you're able to finish on time, you see your result. It's no longer those days after exams, we have to transfer scripts, some scripts get missing. Once you finish on time, you see, you can press score, your result comes out. And of course, we know that immediate feedback helps students to progress. We also have online admission, where you can apply any time of the year, But the danger is this. When we talk of gross enrollment or open and distance learning, does that mean that any person that knocks, we should open the door? The answer is no. We've talked about mellowing down the entry requirements. Yes, it is very, very important to have some entry requirements to reduce the restriction. But then, student ability and capability should also be measured. In National University of Nigeria, we have what we call access program, where if a student does not meet the entire entry requirement, we admit the student and give the student some kind of remedial program. The idea is to put the student on the same pedestal so that the student can compete, positively with his or her own counterpart. And as educators, we should begin to do this, because there is a gap between a student from rural area and the student from the urban area. And once we stabilize that gap, the student can now compete favorably with his own counterparts. We do that in National Open University. Then funding is another thing. The government cannot fund education. It has all been said there that we need to partner with the private. In Nigeria, for instance, I think this year budget is less than 13%, if I'm not mistaken, whereas the UNESCO recommended 26%. But it's less than that. Even at that, releasing the funds, is a problem. So we cannot rely on government. The government cannot totally fund education. We need to invite the private sector, and it's been said well throughout this conference. But again, inviting the main stuff, peddling the regulations so that they can come in. Perhaps, these are the size of top universities in the world, in Africa. You see here South Africa and Egypt, competing, favorably. One is inclined to think that proper funding, some kind of help universities to do well. These are another top universities in the world. You see Harvard there taking first, most of the top universities in the, in the US, taking the lead. One is not surprised, because over there, education is well funded. Yeah, we've talked about collaboration so much, and I'm not going to waste my time on this. No one institution has it all. There is need to collaborate, because institution A may not have all the facilities. So when we talk of, student exchange program, we should also begin to talk of, when we talk of sabbaticals, we should also begin to talk of student exchange program, where a student can take classes from University A and be able to transfer it to his or her university. The National Open University, we collaborate with IGNO and CORE and other open universities across the globe. Then in conclusion, it has all been said, there is no need asking whether enrollment should be, whether education should be for all, for everybody or not. It's well agreed that education should be, in fact, is the greatest gift one could bestow to anybody. But we need to understand that throwing education open now means that we have, more and more people coming in with different problems. And we need to understand where they are coming from. If you don't know where I'm coming from, you cannot help me. If you don't know, if you understand what I bring to the classroom, you cannot help me. A student could have, some learning disabilities, and you label the student not smart. We need to diagnose, know what the problem the students are having, and we should be able to assist the student. Again, I totally agree with Patricia Cross that it's not enough to admit students. We owe the moral obligation to make them succeed. And if you want to, and I also concur to those who say that given enough time and opportunity, every learner is a potential achiever. What am I saying in effect? If the student has not done well, the teacher has failed. And support services has been proven to help, students succeed. When I say support services, I mean counseling, academic advancement, tutoring, supplemental instructions. In the classroom, students are limited. Maybe the class instructor, the teacher has just 1 hour to talk. Some students may not understand. Some students might even be shy to ask questions in the class. So the teacher should make himself, the lecturer should make himself available where the student could meet after class to clarify issues. In some institutions, they even have, paid tutoring, where a student who is doing good in mathematics will tutor one that is not doing good. I benefited from that, the school I went through. So we should begin to encourage, because it's not just enough to, we cannot talk of increasing enrollment where we increase enrollment and at graduation level, we graduate very few. These two should go in, in pari passu. So research has also proven that support services are imperative to academic achievement. So, of course, we cannot create any social justice without education. Without education, one is just cannot go anywhere. And I'd like to end with this, that the most important and urgent reform needed in education is to endeavor to relate it to life, needs and aspirations of people, and thereby make it a powerful instrument of social, economic, cultural transformation necessary for realization of national goals. For this purpose, education should be developed so as to increase